Baseball is dead.
Rest in peace.
It's a Thursday episode. Closing out. Is this the second to last week of the season? Yeah,
It is.
Second to last full week of the season. We've still got some regular season games that trickle into that first week of October, but it's the second to last full week of the season. The postseason is coming. It's upon us. It's here, more or less. But the only real news that has happened since our last recording is this little athletic piece on the Mets, which isn't really that revealing into anything. There was no real major juice. There are some nuggets. We can talk about it. But I did throw out a tweet before we came on the podcast to throw it to the ground. Not the grounds crew, the Gravediggers. Wow. Not the grounds crew.
Wow.
Yeah.
Turn the fucking page, guy.
Wow. Move on with my life. Gonna answer some Twitter questions. But first, things are heating up in the ballpark. Every team is playing to finish the season strong and make it to the playoffs. With DraftKings Sportsbook, you won't miss a moment of the baseball action. New customers can score $200 and instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on baseball. If you took my parlay last night, you would have made money because most of my parlays hit. Like I say, I'm just the best at this. Plus, all customers can take a crack at a sweet payday with DraftKings same-game parlays. String together multiple bets from a single game for your shot at a major payout. So what are you waiting for? Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use the promo code Jared, Jared. New customers can score $200 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on baseball, only on the DraftKings Sportsbook with the promo code Jared. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In Massachusetts, call 800-327-5050 or visit gamblinghelplinema.org. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Kansas, call 1-800-522-4700. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, 21 plus in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after insurance, opt-in, and 10-plus leg requirement for 100% boost. Eligibility, wagering, and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/baseball terms. Yeah, another dub for me. Wow. You know, in a long line of dubs, last night was certainly one of them. Something that the Mets haven't experienced much this year. The Mets actually... what are they on pace for? 75 wins. This is a team that thought that they were going to cakewalk themselves to a 100-plus win season. Hasn't happened that way. The Athletic, I think the Athletic is probably just like, damn, that Padres hit piece did well. Let's shit on the Mets. I feel like because there's nothing really of substance in this. How the $445 million Mets crashed and burned. Tim Britton wrote it. And, some of the takeaways, I think the juiciest thing in here, Jay, correct me if I'm wrong. You might have been the only other person that read it. I think the lamest part about it is that the Mets were trying to blame the World Baseball Classic, but if there's anything juicy in it, by putting a name to anything, it's that Tommy Pham said It was, quote, the least hardest working group of position players he's ever played with.
Damn. I would agree. That was easily the most interesting thing in it. And it seemed very forthright too, because it was a conversation between Pham and Lindor, apparently. Where Pham was telling Francisco the quote that Jared just said, this is the least hardest working group of position players I've ever come across or played with. The WBC stuff is very lame to me. Like, yes, we know it impacted your season because you lost your closer, but to pin the entire failure on that is, I think, what's up, Dallas?
Go ahead, Jay. I was just going to say the Tommy Pham comments and Lindor comments, or I didn't know if Lindor responded. Did I read this? No.
They were talking to each other.
Yeah, Lindor was receptive to what Pham said and apparently told him on Pham's way out the door when he got traded to the D-backs, like, the quote was, "Thank you for reminding me how to work hard," or something very close to that.
Yeah.
Is what Lindor said to Pham.
To Pham when Pham was traded and was like, we'll see you down the line sort of thing.
Sure. So now here's this. Remember about 3 months ago, there was a former teammate of Francisco Lindor's who was absolutely fucking skewered, absolutely grilled, just roasted for a comment he made about Francisco Lindor. Maybe not being the leader or implying that he might not be the leader that some people think he is. Right? Isn't that what happened?
Yep.
Mhm.
Kipnis. I don't know if we have his exact comments or if we can pull those up. But does this article and does that exchange between Tommy Pham and Francisco Lindor give any substance, any credence whatsoever to Francisco Lindor and what Jason Kipnis might have been intimating at the time?
I think given what we know about Tommy Pham and like his attitude in general, it's not necessarily surprising to me that he would see something similar that Jason Kipnis saw. Because I feel like Pham from an attitude perspective is much more from like that generation of players. I do think it lends a little bit of credence to it though, if like not in a slanderous sense.
Hold on, when you say that generation of player, what are you saying?
I mean, I think like what we hear from ex-players in the media a lot lately about how the game has changed. Like I could see Tommy Pham being a guy who would lament how the game has changed, sort of thing. You know what I mean? In terms of clubhouse camaraderie, what he expects in a typical clubhouse leader, that sort of thing is what I meant.
Okay. Yeah.
All those veterans and no leadership. Ooh.
Well, you played with Lindor. Is he a leader?
I'm going to repeat it again. All those veterans and no leadership. If everybody's a veteran there, you're kind of just under the assumption that everybody's taking care of their business and going about the things the right way. But you kind of need someone to be those bumper pins kind of on each side. If people start getting out of line a little bit, it helps keep people in order and in track and focus on the same thing. Everybody gets a little comfortable because there's all veterans and you don't really have to worry about what you're doing because it's like you can do no wrong. You kind of forget that little being on edge when you're a young guy and you're like, oh, I don't know if a veteran saw me or I shouldn't be doing this. You lose that kind of should I be doing the right thing mentality.
Well, Jason Kipnis used the word forget. Francisco Lindor said, thank you for reminding me. And you get reminded because you've forgotten something. I'm just going to throw that out there. Just wanted to have that be something to be chewed on. Just go ahead.
So basically, you're calling Jason Kipnis a coward because he backtracked on those comments immediately and went away.
I did do that.
No, I'm not calling Jason Kipnis a coward. I think in due time, things like this come out. And for Jason Kipnis, a guy who played very closely with Francisco Lindor, said something that on the heels of Francisco Lindor just becoming the centerpiece for the New York Mets, people were not ready to hear. People didn't want to listen to. People were looking at Jason Kipnis like he had sour grapes. And there's no way that Francisco Lindor could ever be covered in this kind of blanket. And now here we have a statement from Francisco Lindor himself acknowledging that there very well could have been a slip in the work ethic during this time. And Tommy Pham, since you were here, you kind of reminded me how things should go. And knowing who I am and what I represent to this team, thank you for that.
Here's my big problem with these two pair of articles now is that we have basically two instances of the primary Latin influence in the clubhouse being blamed for a lack of leadership and thus the season being a failure in part, coming off of 2 years multiple years where those two guys were also the engines behind which teams won lots and lots of games and were very successful. The Mets won, 101 fucking games last year? It's just a little annoying that when things go badly, it's a lack of leadership. And when things go well, you don't hear anything about this kind of stuff. Like, to me, it ultimately boils down to the Mets and I'm not like, this is kind of separate from the Kipnis comments, but to me, it boils down to like most of the Mets players didn't play as well as they needed to play, period. Like, and to like pin that on like, maybe collectively they were not working as hard as they needed to, or were not as focused at all times. I'm not dismissing that. I just don't like how it's being pinned on very specific people when there are plenty of other veterans in these clubhouses. Why is Pete Alonso not absorbing some of this blame? Why is Jeff McNeil not absorbing some of this blame? Jeff McNeil seems to have lots of comments to the media every time leadership or clubhouse chemistry comes up. Never one
that's
to
interesting.
actually...
Because who's the other common denominator in the issue there, Jay Hay? Because we now have three instances. We now have 3 instances of there being some issues, and I don't want to call the Tommy Pham and Francisco Lindor exchange an issue, like there was negativity there, because there was not.
Clearly Lindor was the guy he was comfortable going to with those comments, which I think says something.
So there is a level of comfort there, not an issue. There's a level of comfort there. But that does mean that we have 2 separate instances, Francisco Lindor and Jason Kipnis, Francisco Lindor and Tommy Pham, and Francisco Lindor and Jeff McNeil. So there's a common denominator here, and it's not Jeff McNeil, and it's not Tommy Pham. And so to your point about blaming players, well, Pete Alonso, I think you're right, could probably absorb whatever blame is being cast. But the only reason I brought this up was because the whole Kipnis thing from in the past. And Jay, I know it might be irritating that this kind of stuff pops up when you lose, but this is why we all know this is why you want to win. Because losing sucks and winning covers up mistakes. It's that simple. Think about the big red, or not the big, think about the Reds in the 90s, the Nasty Boys. They're kicking the shit out of each other in the clubhouse, right? They're winning.
Also had a racist old windbag for an owner, different times. Yeah.
Yeah. But that whole, the idea of this kind of stuff surfacing when you lose, well, that's why. And especially to the tune of a $500 million payroll, people are going to be parsing through your trash, looking for every reason why you lost. And so I just think it's interesting to hear that specific comment, because this is a guy in Lindor who I think a lot of people love. I mean, I love the way the dude plays. I was beating his drum when he was saying, screw the shift, let me be an athlete. Like, I love everything about that. I love that. But you now have multiple examples here of a lack of leadership in places Francisco Lindor has been.
I think it's worth remembering that regardless of what Francisco Lindor's personality is, what had a greater impact on the Mets not being good this year? Jeff McNeil's batting average dropping by 60 points and his OPS dropping by 130 points. Like Francisco Lindor can be the biggest dickhead on the planet, and it could never outweigh Jeff McNeil sucking after being an all-star Silver Slugger last year. Like, just like that doesn't, that's not saucy. And that this is part and parcel of playing in New York. I get it for the Mets, but like at the end of the day, it doesn't really fucking matter. It doesn't really matter what Francisco Lindor's exact personality is, because I don't think anybody's going to come out there and say he's a cancer, right? Nobody is going that far. So it doesn't matter.
No, because there's differences. There's huge differences between guys, being what we call, OFP guys, own fucking program. So when they walk into the clubhouse and there's shit on the wall for us to be doing, there's a time right now, like that guy, he's not doing that. He's not out taking ground balls early with the rest of the guys. Why? Because he's on his own fucking program. He's actually getting treatment at that point in time. And you're going, well, why is he getting treatment at that time? And the response is, because all of you guys are out there and it leaves it open for him to do it in here. And it's like, well, that kind of falls flat on the whole team thing. And I'm not saying that was what happened with Lindor. I'm saying I've seen that shit right there unfold. So the idea of everybody being on the same page and that coming from a leadership perspective, or that coming from a place where you think leadership would live, doesn't always work that way. So when you would be looking to a guy to set the tone, that dude might be setting his own tone to his own tune and looking at you going, why aren't you beating your own drum? And then that's where issues start to arise. That's where people start to talk about, I got to get everybody on the same page. We got to be pulling in the right direction. We have to be. I tell you right now, Jay, I watch the Mets work out. I watch every single team take infield if they do it. And I watch teams that hit early on getaway days if they do it. And I got a long list of the teams that I am extremely impressed with. And I got a list of guys that I'm going, why the fuck don't I see you work this way? And I know those names. I know those players. So I'll give a shout out to the Seattle Mariners who were just in town. Perry Hill and his group. If you ever watch a baseball game with the Seattle Mariners playing in it, get there early and watch them work. It is fucking impressive. Perry Hill is out there at second base with no glove, 60 some odd years old, basically fielding the ground balls that are hit to each and every one of his guys with them, behind them, fucking head in the dirt. There's just groups of guys who roll up their sleeves and get to fucking work. And there's other guys who show up.
We need the list. That's an off-season episode for sure. I mean, honestly, you could probably get that episode before the off-season because these hit pieces are fucking are doing numbers. I mean, you got to start doing this shit.
Mm-hmm.
I need the list. But,
what team would you write a hit piece on, Dallas, with all your information that you have?
No, I don't have.
You just said you did.
You got a long list.
How about you?
No, I know who goes out and works hard, and I know who doesn't.
What team doesn't work hard? What team would you write a hit piece
You made
on?
it sound like you have a spreadsheet of teams that just are not taking ground balls.
No, I'm saying I get to see every day teams that work, and I get to see
what teams
or I
don't
take
work.
note.
We want to know what teams don't work.
Teams that don't.
Do the Mets work?
All right. Well, like obviously we're in the content entertainment business, and these hit pieces are flying like hotcakes. So give us some dirt. Like what name a player that you think doesn't work hard?
Yeah, exactly. I don't have.
Well, people are going to start listening to the Athletic fucking baseball podcast instead of ours, unless you tell us this list right now.
Yeah, Jake, pull up the fucking A's schedule. Let's go down the list of how many teams like recently.
Okay. We're not participating in this.
How about we do this?
Yeah,
let's grade the Mets pregame infield and preparation 1 to 10.
The Mets pregame infield not strong.
Ooh, 1 to 10.
Well, isn't that what Tommy Pham I think said in the article? He was like, I wish. This I'm paraphrasing, but he's like, I wish like more guys came out to take batting practice because that's how I get reads on the ball off the bat. And like, there's just one group out there that's doing it. So I just have to like fucking guess. All right, let's look at the A's schedule here.
I'm not going to answer the question. You can ask.
Okay. All right. So he's complimenting the Mariners because the A's just played the Mariners. But right before that, the Padres. So he thinks that the Padres' work ethic is dog shit, which is basically what we've learned from the San Diego Tribune and the Athletic anyway.
I think it's possible that we need to consider that Dallas was the source. For the Tribune.
Honestly, Dallas literally was like, I talked to Bob Melvin and anyways, so I'm not going to name any names, but the vibe in the room is not good. I won't say who told me. He's just not good at what is that? And 101 Dalmatians when they take the little brush and they sweep up the paw prints in the snow. Dallas is not very good at that process. But let's see, a couple playoff teams right before that. The Houston Astros. How's the Houston Astros preparation, Dallas?
Elite.
Okay, that makes sense. They go to the ALCS every year. Before that, the Texas
Put
Rangers.
Like this, the Houston. So those are two teams. The Houston Astros. Whoever you're pitching that day, the Houston Astros have already taken BP on the field on his repertoire.
I thought you were going to say they've already taken surreptitious video of them, studied it, and then come up with a complicated. Oh, all right, never mind. Sorry, Jared said we had to move on. Yeah.
Wow. Well, it seems like you're ready to, Jay. Hey, anything else you want to say?
Wow.
No, I still can't believe you guys tried to argue that people are going to be excited about the Astros in the playoffs. What a bunch of garbage.
I think that's true.
That's true.
You need a villain.
You need
You
him.
been to Houston? They fucking love their Astros, bud. They love
Every
their
great story
Astros.
has a villain, and Astros fans
I
travel
would hope
too.
Houston was excited about it. That's where they fucking play. Ugh, Astros. Give me a break.
Mhm. Elite prep.
So you think the Rangers prep sucks?
No, Rangers have incredible preparation as well.
Oh,
they are
before
actually
the
I'll say this,
Rangers,
as
before
far
the
as
Rangers,
a,
2 series prior,
as far as early
the
hitting
Halos.
goes, as far as
Talk-
early
talk to
hitting
us.
goes,
Talk to us about the Angels preparation. That's got to be fucking putrid.
they get work. They're in the cage. They spend time in the cage.
Okay. I don't hear anything about grounders, Dallas.
I see the majority of time spent in the cage. The Angels
Okay.
spend time in the cage.
All right. So no, they're not out there taking ground balls. They're not out there taking BP.
Shohei-
They're
I
not
didn't
helping
say
their
that.
outfielders.
Shohei-
They
Shohei's a
take
no
batting
FP
practice.
too.
Yes.
Shohei's no
yes, they take
FP.
batting practice.
Yeah. I think you said something about you went into the gym and no one was in there.
No, I
They're
didn't
using the
say
bench as like a
I think he
as a
said they don't even
table to
have,
have
a
lunch
gym.
on. Yeah, they don't even have a gym. Wow.
Just a bunch of free weights thrown in a parking lot.
Wow.
We have a gym. We have 2 gyms. We have a very nice gym.
Wow.
No, it's not. I've seen it. It's horrible.
I went there
It's
to
nice.
lift once. They didn't have like any of the stuff I like to use.
Yeah.
Well, like weights.
Not the good stuff.
I don't remember why I was back. I'm not even joking. I did see the visitors gym at the Coliseum. It's not a good situation. Like
No, the
to the
visit-
point where
the visitors
guys were
gym is not
working out
great.
in the fucking hallway.
Hallway.
They were
Yeah,
just like,
absolutely.
I
how
don't know,
about this?
dude.
I turned the.
They were.
I turned
I'm
the,
dead serious.
I turned the corner the other day, and Michael Walker almost fucking smoked me with a weighted ball that he was throwing against the wall.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, I'll go the other way."
Yeah. If you're a visiting player at the Oakland Coliseum, get ready to fucking work out in the hallway because that's the best they got for you.
It's just a little reminder. Little reminder. That's all it is. And I'm
Of
okay
what?
with that.
Of what?
Don't think for 1 minute that this shit can't be taken away from you and it can't change quickly.
So the team that definitely doesn't perform to Dallas's expectations is definitely the Angels because he complimented and the Padres. He complimented the Mariners, the Astros, the Rangers. We didn't say anything about the Blue Jays.
The Blue Jays prep. Blue Jays work.
Okay. All right. So then it's the Angels and the Padres because I don't think that his memory goes back before September 1st. I think that his brain cells are fried beyond, let's call it 3 weeks, 3-week memory bank. So we've got
Sure.
the Angels and the Padres as teams that don't prepare to Dallas's liking.
Didn't say that.
He didn't say it wasn't true either. So, all right. If Ken Rosenthal, if you're listening, you want to write a piece on this, we should have it's kind of like
Infield hit piece.
yeah, kind of like if we're like a Japanese baseball team and you want one of our players, there has to be like a posting fee. Like there should be a posting fee for this story on the Angels and the Padres. It's just like it's the third Padres hit piece, but we have more information, and then you can write one about the Angels, but you have to pay us money for it.
Start manufacturing hit piece material
Yeah.
for a nominal
Yeah.
fee. We can get your team skewered. You know
Yeah.
that?
You into that? Jay, hey, if there was one hit piece that you would want written on a Major League Baseball team, which team would you want to see taken down with juicy details?
Wow. Never been asked this question. I
The evil little chuckle.
Yeah.
Oh, look at
I'm trying to- I have a team in mind. I think I'd like to see the Rockies regime taken down.
Ooh.
I think it's time for some fresh perspective, some fresh blood, maybe a little less God over there. Less God,
Wow.
more baseball. I think it's time for in
Less
Colorado.
God, more baseball.
Damn, Jay, down with Jesus.
Yeah,
Well, he's just what was his batting average this year?
right.
Did he go 40-70? I didn't see it. If he did,
No, nope.
need more on-field talent, less focus on heavenly bodies.
Mm-hmm. Joseph, if there was a team that you would want to see taken down with juicy details by the Athletic or otherwise, what team you pick?
Obviously the Mets. And this one seems a little
It was light.
a little light. I didn't read it, but yeah, it seems a little light. It doesn't really seem like they're really they suck ass.
I didn't read it. It seems like
I did not have time to read it. It didn't seem anything.
I didn't read a single word of it. It just didn't do it for me.
I mean, Tommy Pham, that seems like a guy who goes hard in the paint. You know, like I could see him fucking taking a lot of batting practice. And I can also see him being a dick to anyone who doesn't take batting practice. I've seen a video of him taking fly balls and batting practice and screaming at a fan. That's kind of his thing. You know, he's a fiery guy. The Mets don't seem fiery. But if you look at the Mets, it's kind of crazy. Go through every single player on the Mets this year, offensive position player, compared to last year. Every single one of them has gotten worse. They're having a worse season than last year. Every single one.
What are you going to say, Dallas?
I just
Something about the Angels infield?
no Tommy Pham. Like,
Okay.
you need a guy like Tommy Pham on your team. You need a guy like Tommy Pham on your team.
Mets
I
had him,
had a
didn't
guy
do shit.
just like Tommy Pham on my team.
Like
What the
that,
fuck
that
did he
kind
do
of-
for the Mets?
just that kind of attitude, Jay. That kind of
I'm just kidding.
I know you are. That kind of fuck you has to exist on some level in the room, in the clubhouse. It has to. And if Tommy Pham is a dude who's going to hold you accountable just by being that dude, then so be it.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of athletic articles, I just read there was one about him like a couple weeks ago, and it was just like everyone they talked to loved him. It was like they're all these teammates love Tommy Pham. Yeah, he's a savage. He'll scream at people in the crowd. He'll slap you in the fucking face for fantasy football. You know, he'll get stabbed in the
That's what I
offseason,
mean, like-
but he comes to the
like,
ballpark
when-
every day and tries his best.
Yeah.
And people respect that.
When did it become a bad thing to not take any shit? When did it become a bad thing to not fuck around? You know what I mean? You want to fuck around, you're going to find out. When did it become a bad thing to be the human version of that? Like, why do people need to be given the benefit of the doubt multiple times? And, oh, can't you just, what? Why can't you just, so I don't have to fucking slap you? This is kind of where Tommy Pham is coming from.
I'm a huge Tommy Pham fan. I also think that if you're going to interview former teammates about how much you like Tommy Pham, I don't think a lot of people are going to be willing to be like, no, fuck that guy. I don't like him, even if it's anonymous, because he seems like the guy who will find out and beat your ass.
I just love
And
it
beat your ass.
because I was trying to explain to Jared like just the difference. I was like, look, man, like you can just tell cats are just different, right? And I was trying to let him know like Tommy Pham is just different. He's just different. Jared was like, man, I don't know. And then and then he slapped the shit out of Jock. And I was like, Jared, do we want to revisit the Tommy Pham assessment and whether or not he's here to fucking ruin your day should you have a problem with him? And Jared was like, yeah, you know what? Probably not fucking with Tommy Pham.
I love Tommy Pham.
Probably taking Tommy Pham in all future engagements.
I told you, I had a moment with Tommy Pham. Like, it was last summer. I was in the Red Sox dugout. It was torrentially downpouring at Fenway. No one was on the field. And it was just me and Tommy Pham sitting in the dugout together. And he was telling me the story of the fantasy football league and why he slapped Jock in the face. And like, it was like a scene out of a movie. If you had seen the video, if it happened in a movie, you wouldn't believe it, because he was telling me this piece of now baseball history, and it was the loudest thunder and the heaviest rainfall that I had ever experienced, at least in Massachusetts. Like anytime I heard like thunder that loud or rain that hard, it's been in Florida, which is like commonplace for them. But I was like, this is the stormiest storm I think I've ever seen in my life. And it was as Tommy Pham was sitting next to me telling me the behind the scenes of that fantasy football league that led to Jock Peterson getting smacked in the face.
I forget who came up to me right after, but when they were in town and he came up, I was standing behind the cage and he came over to me, gave me a hug and we were talking. We talked for like 15 minutes and then he left. And I think he went out to the tunnel to hit. And I think it was JP Sears. I might not have been though, but he came up. He's like, "Hey, you know him?" And I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Is he cool? Because isn't he a fucking psycho?" Like people who don't even know him have that like, dude. Like I heard like, because then he asked me, he's like, "Didn't he get like fucking stabbed in like a bar fight and like kick the shit out of the guy?" Yeah. I was like, yeah. That guy's fucking crazy, man. I don't want any part of that dude. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's not like in hockey where Tommy Pham is just like some bruiser brawler, like, oh, we need that guy on the bench. Like Tommy Pham is like actually performing, like he's the attitude guy. Like he can change the culture and he can set the tone, but he's like actually having a good year.
Oh, he's having a great year by his standards. I mean, this is why it was really refreshing talking to Tommy earlier this season because he said
800 OPS.
He said, "Look, man, I'm just trying to get back to doing what I do. I'm trying to ball out. I'm trying to put it on the map that like I still got something. I can still help. I can still." And he even said he was like, maybe I might not be your first selection. That's fine. I can help. I know I can help. And I think what he's done this season has proved that, has it not?
Oh yeah.
I mean, yes.
Yeah, and since he came to the Diamondbacks, I want to say he came to the Diamondbacks around the time when they were losing a lot of games.
They were losing.
And look at them now. Look at them.
Yep. Were they hauled off 5 straight at this point?
I'm not sure, but I know they passed the Cubs. They swept the Cubs over the weekend, and now they're in the second wild card position.
Cubs are still in a wild card, though, I believe.
Yeah, the Cubs are barely, man. Those guys are falling apart.
The fucking Marlins are hanging around.
He did refer to Corbin Carroll as the truth.
Tommy did?
Yeah, I was like, "Yo, what do you got on that little fella out there just fucking flying all over the place?" And he was like, "Yo, that dude's the truth."
See, if Tommy Pham said that about me, there's probably not one guy I'd feel more honored than having the respect of Tommy Pham.
Well, I think that probably is a testament to Corbin Carroll and the way he plays the game. You know what I mean? I can't speak for Tommy Pham's arousal effect, but I would believe that probably arouses Tommy Pham watching Corbin Carroll play the game as hard as he does.
I had a bad tweet regarding Corbin Carroll.
Shocker.
Do you want to?
What do you mean shocker?
What do you mean shocker?
You want to get that out right now? You want to try to take care of that?
Yeah, I'll address it. I think it was something to the effect of I was like, Ellie De La Cruz is really going to fuck around and take the Rookie of the Year away from Corbin Carroll, and yeah, we gave Ellie De La Cruz a lot of love, a lot of credit when he first burst onto the scene, but that kind of fizzled out real quick, and it's sad. I don't know, like I don't know why people are so quick to go the "I told you so" route on Ellie De La Cruz, be like, "Oh man, told you he was super overhyped." Like, why can't we just like be excited when it was worth being excited about, and then when he's struggling, be like, "All right," but like clearly it's in there somewhere.
You blame StatCast. There's nobody else to blame
because he can run fast and hit the ball hard
outside of StatCast. Yes, because when he does something like that, like the triple or the inside the park home run, whatever it was, he goes from first to third faster than anybody's done it this season. And you're like, "Oh my God, we have found the fastest baseball player on the planet. StatCast told us so. This guy's ridiculous. Probably Hall of Famer." And then, "Oh my God, he just threw a ball as the cutoff man, 100 miles an hour to the." I don't know if I've ever seen another throw that great. Put him in center field. Why isn't this guy already in the Hall of Fame? StatCast says nobody throws harder. StatCast says nobody runs faster.
Wow, you sound
in a shorter amount of time.
Analytics for Ellie De La Cruz's downfall.
No, I don't believe that was me blaming them for the downfall.
You sound.
I believe that was me highlighting the
like
analytics as the reason that you got excited.
Wow.
Yeah, that's very
isn't
different.
that? Doesn't that just validate it?
That almost flies.
Doesn't that validate it?
Validate what?
Like the fact that he's the fastest runner and he hits the ball the hardest. Aren't those like reasons? Like it's not like
God forbid we
well,
market baseball's young talent.
No, neither one of those things are true though. And
yes, it is. He's the fastest runner in the game.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah.
You sure about that?
Who's faster?
Take a look.
Coulda.
I mean, if he's not first, he's second, and then
That's fine. I think you guys really wanted to get excited.
He's first, you asshole.
There's been between sprint speed? Because we had fucking like it was Carroll, then it was Ellie, then it was Bobby Witt Jr. Like it's
Bobby
fluctuating.
Witt Jr. is 1/10 of a second behind Ellie De La Cruz, so he's gotten fat and lazy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, the idea behind what I said is that's why you got excited about it. I'm not telling you that if I were telling you that the analytics were to blame here, I'd be telling you, look, he's not hitting the ball as hard. That's every reason why you got excited. But when that doesn't happen consistently, when you can't go to StatCast and look up 15 balls in a row, hit 118 miles an hour because it's happened before, you start to go, well, I don't know if this Ellie De La Cruz guy is all he's cracked up to be. He's only hit the ball 118 miles an hour a few times. I was told this guy was going to be every day. This is trash. That's because StatCast got you all excited. Calm down. He doesn't throw the ball 109 miles an hour every time he touches it.
This is a terrible rant. I don't know if we can, Jake, cut this out.
Yeah, no. It's so you guys
I don't know that we
understand.
can. I don't know if we can have like the oldest person on the podcast by birth date just be poo-pooing StatCast. Like that's not our brand.
No one's poo-pooing StatCast. I'm telling you, quit letting, you know what you are?
This man literally sat here and said,
StatCast is a
Ellie
bottle
De La
of
Cruz
Boone's Farm.
isn't even that fast. I
don't even
this guy.
I'm not even sure he actually exists as a baseball player. He's just a figment of StatCast's computers.
Yeah,
at this point, he is.
He's
at this point, he is.
He's a StatCast merchant.
He's a Rob Manfred plant to spread the gospel of StatCast.
How's it going for him? How's it going for him? How's it going?
Honestly, this seems like Rob Manfred put Dallas up to this. He's like,
how's it going for him?
He's like, oh man, Corbin Carroll's gonna win the Rookie of the Year. We need to send our right hand man Dallas Braden down to shit on Ellie De La Cruz for no reason.
Well, hey, how about this?
Hey, I tell you what, you know what, Joey? I'm not sure what StatCast tells me about sprint speed this month for Ellie De La Cruz. I don't know how hard the hardest ball that Ellie De La Cruz has thrown this month. I do know he's hitting just north of 160. But as long as he's running his ass off, and you guys know that, it's fantastic. There's no reason he shouldn't be at the Midsummer Classic, right?
Wow.
Why can't we get the ballot going early for Ellie right now? We should.
I think people advocate for that this year.
Oh, he should have been the home run derby. Would have been sight to see. It would have been something to root for.
So that's fantastic that he's on the top of the list at sprint speed. He's hitting 160.
I hope the Hoffer doesn't listen to this and hear this Cincinnati slander. Lark would be so disappointed in you, Dallas.
StatCast had you guys super excited, understandably so, but that's why. Blame StatCast.
It is. It adds fuel to the fire, man, because no one ever brings up when you talk about Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, no one ever, or Acuna, you kind of sometimes, but Matt Olson, these MVP, no one ever says, oh, look at fucking Mookie Betts' exit velocity, or Mookie Betts do a fucking fastball from right field.
No, it's because we see these guys for the first time and you see their tools and you're like, oh my God, that was ridiculous. Did that dude just throw a fucking baseball 100 miles an hour from like the out from shortstop? That was ridiculous. I want to see that again. And then you see him fly around the bases.
Bags.
Yeah. Well, Carroll's the first dude first rookie in baseball history with 25 homers or 20 homers or whatever and 50 plus bags. First player in Major League Baseball history.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty good.
It's just too bad that you hate Ellie De La Cruz.
I love Ellie. I just,
he's a guy that I'm super excited about still. I mean, there's going to be growing pains with rookies in this league.
You just got to rewind 6 minutes when Jared goes, yeah, but Ellie De La Cruz, tell you, it's really gone away since then. It's really fizzled out.
Yeah, I mean, you said you basically told him to retire from baseball. Like,
no, I told
I'm
you.
Just saying I'm saying he's going through a rough stretch, and you're saying if the only reason why people think he's good in the first place is because of StatCast. He's not good. And he never was, and he never will be. That's kind of like your thesis.
I told you what the month of September looks like for Ellie in the face of him being super fast. All right, you know what? Let's back it up. Sorry, September, not a good month. Let's go to August. Damn it. It looks like Ellie didn't hit 200 in the month of August. But, Jared, can you give me his sprint speed in the month of August?
Can you tell me how hard he threw the ball? Average unless it fits Dallas's narrative. The month of August. This is Rob Manfred 101, Jay Hay. He's just, he's a master manipulator.
To this time last year, it's just, it's like, Manfred on the podium, just.
Yeah.
As long as you guys know why you got duped.
Who's gonna have a better career? Ellie De La Cruz, Matt McClain. Both rookies. Both played the same amount of games, basically.
You got to go Shannawell. Who's going to be better, Ellie De La Cruz or Shannawell?
Encarnacion Strand.
Well, maybe Matt McClain might not have the StatCast numbers.
Any taker on a Joey Meneses? Do we have any Meneses takers?
I think Matt McClain might be a BID guy.
Then the answer is him. He'll have the best career.
Yeah. We should get him on and ask him how he feels about Dallas slandering all of his teammates.
Yep. I think that'd be a good interview.
I agree. You know what else would be a good interview? The one where we're drinking Blue Moons while we're doing it. Because even under the bright lights of the playoffs, Blue Moon Belgian White, Belgian style wheat ale is the beer that's made brighter. Blue Moon was born in a ballpark for baseball fans, first brewed at Coors Field in Denver, Colorado. From its bold, refreshing flavor to its beautiful, bright color, Blue Moon is as iconic as America's pastime. Dallas, are you going to be able to enjoy some Blue Moons during the postseason at least? Because I know that, the A's won't be there, so you won't be in any broadcast booths or any post-game type obligations. You're gonna be knee deep in some Blue Moons.
My lunar tits are gonna be lit with all the moons I'm gonna be slamming.
Mm-hmm. With its refreshing flavor with Valencia orange peel for a subtle sweetness and hints of coriander, Blue Moon Belgian White Belgian style wheat ale is a one-of-a-kind beer that's made brighter. I feel like they added some words in there. They definitely added some words in there. They made They made it Blue Moon Belgian White Belgian style wheat ale. It used to be Blue Moon Belgian style wheat ale, and now they've just added a couple more Belgians. There's 2 Belgians in there. Anyways, it is a one-of-a-kind beer that's made brighter. It's carefully crafted and full flavored with refreshing notes and a smooth, creamy finish. Blue Moon was brewed by baseball, so it's the perfect match for the playoffs. The crack of a beer, the pour, the first sip of that bold flavor. Blue Moon always feels like a special occasion. That's true. Best served with its signature orange garnish to showcase its beautiful bright color. A beer this good only comes around once in a blue moon, but you can enjoy it all through the playoffs. Brighten up the baseball playoffs with Blue Moon Belgian style wheat ale. See that? That's what it has always been. That's without all the extra words. Brighten up the baseball playoffs with Blue Moon Belgian style wheat ale. It's a one of a kind every time. Jake, check into that. I feel like someone on the ad read just added a bunch of extra words that didn't need to be there.
No, you're right. I had to do it on Name Redacted last night. Got tripped up on the same thing.
Yep. See? That's called paying attention. Check out shop.bluemoonbrewingcompany.com for fresh baseball merch and visit get.bluemoonbeer.com/rocket to find Blue Moon delivery options. That is get.bluemoonbeer.com/rocket. Blue Moon made brighter. Celebrate responsibly. Blue Moon Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado Ale. We do have some Twitter questions, and we threw out the ask to the grave diggers before the show started. The tweet's been out for... The internet's not doing great right now. Come on, Elon. It's been out for an hour. We've got about 100 questions. All right, let's... I'm going to skip through any Red Sox questions because, quite understandably, there are going to be
nobody
a bunch of Red
wants
Sox
to hear
questions.
about that shit. Understandably. Quite understandably. Fucking Red Sox.
From Sean, Which team would you like to see Mike Trout on? I think we kind of, like Jay Hay mentioned the Phils, right?
I think we all
Yeah, that's
mentioned the
definitely
Phils.
my answer. Yeah.
Jay Hay wants Mike Trout on the Phillies. Joe, where do you want Mike Trout?
The Phillies is the easy. Like that's a perfect pick. He having Mike Trout play with Harper, those two guys who came up at the same time. It was like a rivalry at first. Who's better? It's Harper. It's Trout. Having them come together to lose to the Braves would be an amazing thing to watch. I think for the league and the excitement of it.
Okay. All right, I'll try and.
But I would also like to see him. I would also like to see the Shohei Trout rivalry blossom. So
you want him on the Drays?
I think San Diego with Shohei going to the Dodgers, and maybe
Well, Shohei is going to the Red Sox. So you want Mike Trout on the Yankees?
No, I mean no, because we're not allowed to talk about the Red Sox, so they're not an option. All right.
Well, no. We're not allowed to answer Red Sox questions, but we're allowed to cite them in our answers.
Okay, so you think he's going to the Red Sox?
Well, he said he wants to. He said he would rather die than not play for the Red Sox.
Mike Trout on the
or
Yankees would be terrible. Mike Trout on the Yankees might kill him, because there's certain organizations you go to and then all of a sudden you don't have a hamstring.
What about what we
breaks.
see? Oh, you're talking about physical.
What about Mike Trout on the Rockies?
Well, hey, that's an exciting prospect. I mean,
yep. Mike Trout, Chris Bryant. Why not?
Why not?
Are the Miami Marlins the biggest surprise of the season? I think the fact that the Pittsburgh Pirates run wasn't sustainable is more of a surprise to me.
Yeah.
I think the New York Mets are the surprise.
Mets fans would tell you that wasn't a surprise. You can't load up like that and not expect the Mets to just have something horrific happen. And that's exactly what happened.
Not the Mets fans in my mentions entering the year.
I
mean, the biggest surprise in terms of a positive. The thing about MLB this season, the surprises have been, or there's just a lot of downfalls. This is the year. This is the year of the downfall. So yeah, the biggest surprises have been like this Padres being ass, the Mets being ass, the Cardinals being ass. But in terms of I
don't know, like the Cubs being a playoff team is kind of a surprise to me. The D-backs being a playoff team, kind of a surprise to me. The Reds for a while were a very pleasant surprise.
I tend to side on the disappointments being the bigger surprises, because I think the Mets won 100 games last year. I just don't think it's nice that the Cubs, D-backs, Reds, and Marlins are all floating in the playoff picture, but we've discussed how low that bar really is, and a team being 5 games above 500 or something like that when we expected them to be 500 is I don't know. I just think a team like the Mets are going to fall 15, 20 games below expectations. And same with the Cardinals. I just think both of those collapses are more surprising than, a team popping up for a wild card berth.
When you got top tier payroll teams finishing at or under 500, when they're telling you that they should be in the World Series perennially.
What's going on with the negativity on this podcast today? There's plenty of positive surprises that happened throughout the league this year, and you guys are just being negative.
Well, it's just the surprising part about the Marlins isn't their record or where they're at. It's the fact that they lost Jazz for most of the season. Sandy was not good the whole season, and now they're still pretty much in a playoff spot. That's the surprising part. But being, like Jay said, 5 games over, it's not too crazy out of the what their predictions were. Definitely over.
I guess my surprise is that Ellie De La Cruz hasn't figured out how to convert StatCast throwing velocity and sprint speed into OPS.
This is gonna be a thing
I guess
now.
that's my surprise.
This is going to be a thing now. It's ugly.
Well, you guys had no idea why Ellie De La Cruz caught your attention, and me telling you that it was StatCast seemed to shake your very core.
This is from Christian.
Tough edit for Jake.
Yeah. This is from Christian. Christian says, are the Mets a lock to sign Yamamoto? Same agent as Kodai Senga and Edwin Diaz. Why does when everyone talks about Yamamoto, they treat him like he's like Prince or Cher? Like they just say Yamamoto Is it because no one knows how to say Yoshinobu? I think that's it.
What? Because
I think everyone's afraid to drop the Yoshinobu. They're like, Yamamoto is tough enough. So they just go with the one name.
Are we going to
we
pretend
just
like you didn't
typically
practice
aren't
that?
throwing around.
I
Yeah, we're
didn't
not
practice
throwing
that.
around 4-syllable names over here very often.
Yeah, I guess. Same agent as Kodai Senga and Edwin Diaz. The Mets also have a need for young pitching. Thoughts? My thoughts are every fucking team has a need for young pitching, and there are going to be several teams with lots of money to spend that are going to be in on Yamamoto. So it's definitely not a lock. It's nice that you have that relationship with Yamamoto's agent and that Steve Cohen is your owner. Those are definitely two things in your favor for sure. But at the end of the day, I feel like Yamamoto is either going to the highest bidder or, I mean, like we know quite literally nothing about his geographical preferences. Like we know nothing about what matters to him. Is money the only thing that matters? Okay, then it's a bidding war. Is geographical preference something that matters to him? Is winning something that matters to him right away? Don't know. We don't know anything about the guy. So
labeling any team as a lock is setting yourself up for a disappointment right now.
Especially
if you're a Mets.
Yeah, because we don't even know what the Mets are doing right now. It's kind of hard to say. Like, are the Mets rebuilding fully? Are they going for it? They said they're not. It's very confusing what their offseason plans are.
Yeah, that's true. Because the Mets basically told Max Scherzer, like, hey, man, like, we don't know what the fuck we're doing. Like, we're going to be rebuilding for a little bit. That's why Scherzer was like, yeah, get me out of here.
Yeah. Well, they said it's like a rebuild, but typically if you're rebuilding, you're not saying like, okay, in 2 years we'll be good. We're rebuilding, but we're going to be good in 2 years. So it's like, are you rebuilding? Are you trading everyone? Are you signing?
They're resetting.
They're reloading.
Yeah, they're reloading. This is from Dan. Dallas is going to hate this question. Would y'all rather have to build around Elly De La Cruz or Jordan Walker? Elly had the electric debut, but has fallen off considerably. Meanwhile, Jordan has been solid, if kind of unspectacular.
What?
But he's felt more consistent. Would love to hear y'all's thoughts. Well, Dan, I think you've already heard our thoughts on the matter.
It feels like Dan also knows how to work StatCast, Jared. It feels like Dan also knows how to work StatCast.
That doesn't make sense because StatCast favors Elly De La Cruz.
No, I would be willing to bet that Jordan Walker has better StatCast numbers than Elly De La Cruz at the moment. Now I'm looking at it.
Maybe.
Remember, it was Elly De La Cruz and the StatCast numbers that he produced very early that got you excited. That's what Dallas said 20 minutes ago. That's what Dallas is saying again right now. Just reiterating.
Whatever, dude.
Yeah, it wasn't his status as a universal top 5 prospect in the game. Oh man, I think this is actually a very, very good question.
Oh,
because Jordan Walker, I mean, 785 OPS, 114 OPS plus. Like he's been about an 800 OPS since he came back from his minor league stint. He's 21 years old.
Is Jordan Walker a top 5 prospect for you, Jay?
I mean, I think he was in similar places on lists prior to the start of the season than Elly De La Cruz. So I don't think this is comparing apples.
And so he outperformed Elly De La Cruz, and Elly De La Cruz is still on that list, and Jordan Walker is not. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying that like Elly De La Cruz's prospect status probably had something to do with the excitement level and not just his fucking StatCast numbers, you dork.
No, that's a clear and obvious statement. Woo! It was dorks like you that got hung up on what it looked like. Oh my God, it's 107. I've never seen that. Can we put this guy in the fucking hall immediately?
This is not what was the guy's name who asked this question? Ryan?
Dan.
This is not what Dan was looking for.
Yeah, I can already see the fan reaction. People are gonna be like, "What did Elly do to Dallas?" Like the hatred is just. It feels personal.
The other personal difference here is that one of these guys is a shortstop, right? So while Jordan Walker has undoubtedly been better offensively this year and just overall as a producer, like the upside on De La Cruz is, I think, is at a little bit different level. If he can get to the same level offensively, he's a middle of the infield type of guy. Even if you think he needs to move to third base, I don't know, because Jordan Walker's got that light tower power too.
It's an
I
interesting
think
comparison.
the safer answer is Walker, but I think the guy who could win an MVP if things click is probably De La Cruz.
They're both 21. They're both 6'5", 6'6". They're both on teams
Jay,
with
let
the
me
color
ask you
red.
this. Let's see their career future had to do with a StatCast competition. Who are you taking?
I mean, I don't think Joey's totally wrong in what he was saying about some of Jordan Walker's StatCast numbers. Is that a real question? I can't even tell. He's got good arm strength.
Because never in the history would we evaluate the player's future and his ability based on the StatCast.
Well, I mean, that's true to a degree. I mean, a guy who hits the ball hard is important, no matter how bunch of old crusty losers want to say that it's not. Like, it's just putting a label on what we've known has been good the whole time. Like, you want to hit it in the sweet spot. Okay, now we have numbers for that. But now these same fucking idiots don't like it. They're like, oh, it's barrels make me uncomfortable.
Who says that?
I don't know, like fucking... Who was the guy who... There was a guy who just... Doug Minkiewicz just quote tweeted Don Mattingly on this shit. It was just making its rounds earlier today. That's what I saw.
So what did he say?
Doug Minkiewicz would know a barrel if it came up and smacked him in the head.
Because I have a hard time. That is striking to hear. Striking to hear.
What?
That somebody who swung a bat for a living could, at any point in time, try to downplay the importance of being able to put the barrel on the baseball.
I think
that is alarming.
I think it's really as simple as people don't like learning new information or new ways to describe information that we've wanted access to in the past. And when people stop trying to keep up with things, it's just much easier to be like, I don't understand and I'm mad about it, as opposed to being like, well, this is just really what I've always been talking about, just with a label and a number attached to it.
Yeah.
It's not unique to baseball either.
And that right there, that's what angers me and irritates me so much about guys that I've played with and guys that played even before me, is their inability to wrap their head around what we have now at our disposal. It's almost like there's a hint of jealousy that we didn't have this, so that we can't contextualize ourselves, what we thought about ourselves. I hit the ball really fucking hard. I bet you did, dude. I saw it. This exit velocity shit. What are they all caught up on this for? Well, because if you can gauge how consistently a guy hits the ball, and if that's really hard on a consistent basis, you take note of that. You can now identify that guy as somebody who hits the ball hard consistently, and there's numbers and facts to back that up, as opposed to just going, well, the eyeball test. And no. So that's why, like, this whole conversation about Elly, I know we're having fun with it, but that's why I said what I said, is the throwing power and the elite sprint speed that we got hit over the head with early, that we were all like, oh my God, that's what got us to take note. We were able to contextualize the throw and compare it to what we've seen. We were able to contextualize how fast this dude is moving right now from first to third. Nobody's doing it faster right now. We need to keep an eye on this dude, to your point about his prospect status. So when he falls off over the course of the season, I'm just reminding folks that, hey, our ability to measure what we've seen is why we're getting so excited about these guys so early, because we didn't have this ability in years past. You watched King Griffey Jr. burst onto the scene. You had no idea how hard he was hitting it. You had no idea how fast he was making it around the bases. You just knew it looked different than what you were used to. Now we have a lot of guys coming up doing that shit on a regular basis, a la Corbin Carroll, a la Bobby Witt Jr., a la Ronald Acuna, a la Elly De La Cruz. These guys are fucking floating around the bases. But now we have a tool to measure that. So when we don't see the numbers start to line up productivity-wise, people start to go, damn, this dude sucks now. And that's where StatCast comes in and can remind you, he doesn't suck now. He's still fast as fuck. He's still got a great arm. He can still hit the ball hard consistently. It just isn't happening right now. And that's why the counting numbers aren't what they are. And that's why the rate numbers aren't what they are. But as far as his ability to be a fucking athlete, oh, it's there. It is there. StatCast tells us that.
So, anyways, Dallas hates Ellie De La Cruz. Justin asks, and this is a very interesting question. What's the most intriguing World Series matchup possible? And what's the most boring World Series matchup possible?
Well, as Dodgers Astros, I mean, I feel like a Dodgers Astros could be perceived as boring and as exciting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that it's boring just because we've seen it. Like, I don't think that like a Braves Astros World Series, like we just saw it. Like, is that boring?
I think the Braves Astros I think the Dodgers Astros just because it's like, all right, these two teams have some issues.
There's a story there.
Yeah, but that's
I have the most boring.
What is it?
It's Rays Diamondbacks.
Yeah.
What about Twins Diamondbacks?
That also works.
Yeah. It's got to be the
Anybody
Rays.
in the Diamondbacks.
The Rays are definitely the most boring team possible from the AL, just because you wouldn't be that surprised, but you also are not like excited, and you kind of think they're going to lose.
Involve a little bit of a magical run, right?
Yeah.
Like if the Twins made it to the World Series, you'd have them as like underdogs almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, because where's the star power is what you're looking for.
Yeah, and like I know Corbin Carroll's a star, but like that alone is not enough to carry a series, I don't think. And
no, and I was just saying,
give me the Marlins versus the Twins in the World Series.
That would be bad too.
No, they would have to. Can you imagine the shit talk going on with the playoff structure if that happened?
Oh,
they'd have to redo the playoffs.
That's if they get, we're talking about like, you know, like what's the most boring first round matchup.
Cubs Twins
like,
do it for you.
Cubs would be exciting. Any playoff game at Wrigley, I feel like the fans are what make it. But like, yeah, Twins Marlins is by far my choice for most boring. Most exciting.
MLB would literally make a new playoffs like by Christmas. Like, we can't just end the season like this. The ratings are so fucking bad. We're redoing the playoffs. We can't have these two teams in the World Series.
We're redoing it. The most exciting World Series matchup.
It's got to involve the Mariners being in a position to win the World Series for the first time in franchise history. I think would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think the Orioles getting there would be legitimately exciting.
I mean, they may not be an exciting team right now, but I still think the Blue Jays getting there would be exciting because of how, like, again, like it's more like there's no one that has like an exciting storyline. It's more what's going to be like the rowdiest place to play. Like that became the narrative with the Phillies last year. It wasn't wow, Dave Dombrowski a chance to win a World Series after he got fired in Boston. It was, I mean, I guess people did talk about like Bryce Harper winning a World Series. That would have been like a career defining moment for him. But I think that the overwhelmingly at the forefront story was the Phillies fans and how crazy they were during the whole run.
I would say too, it hurts me to say, but I think if you were just a fan of the league, I think the Phillies would be the most exciting team in the World Series from the NL. And I
again,
because of the fans and Bryce Harper. Again, yeah. See if they could do. Are they going to choke again? Because Philadelphia keeps choking in the finals in every sport. So that's another little storyline. And then, like Jay has said, I think Mariners or the Orioles, because both those teams pretty strong fan bases, especially the Mariners, and they haven't been there forever. It's been shocking.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they have some star power.
They do. I mean, you definitely need stars to maintain fans outside of both markets. Trying to find interesting questions. The Stephen A stuff.
Oh,
did you guys see that?
Yeah, I honestly, I borderline, dude, don't even want to, because as somebody who has worked at that machine, and Jay Hay can attest to this, that's intentional. This is on purpose. Like, there's a reason that he is making the comments about the sport he's making the comments about, and he nailed it when he said what he said about why they don't talk about it. And to an extent, he nailed it. And there's a reason that he is the one talking about it.
I'll just play it for the people that don't know. People that don't know what Dallas is talking about. Here's Stephen A. Smith.
Shit.
People are talking about it.
I hope that it would make the Angels and everybody else come to their damn senses. I don't want to hear any discussions anymore about him getting $500 million. I don't want to hear it. Okay? The fact is that you can't pitch until 2025. All right? Secondly, you're going to be compromised in terms of what you're able to do in the field. Number 3, damn it, the Angels don't win. When you look at the Dodgers, when you look at the Braves, when you look at various other teams, ain't got nobody on there making $500 million. There's a bunch of empty seats that I see when Shohei Ohtani's pitching, let alone hitting. The Angels come to town. You're not filling anything. You're not winning. I'm not giving up that kind of money to him. No, you don't need it. Baseball is showing you. And then when you take into account the new rules, when you take into account, listen, you see the shift rules. You see the new pitching, the things that favors pitching. You see a lot of stuff that's going on. You see the run production. You see stolen bases. You see more home runs, more runs overall. You see it catering more, doggy. Correct me if I'm wrong.
You're right.
Mr.
You're right.
High Heat.
Oh, my God.
You see the sport catering.
Athleticism.
I am in no way implying that Shohei Ohtani doesn't have that too. What I am saying is, because the game is evolving in a way that shows you there's a multitude of ways to, proverbially speaking, skin the cat and win baseball games. This dude hasn't been doing that for the Angels. If I'm winning without paying somebody $500 million, why would I go and pay him $500 million? Especially since you can't pitch until 2025. I don't know what you're going to look like when you get back. I don't know if your career as a pitcher is over. I'm not giving Shohei Ohtani that money.
Oh, my God. And then did you see the Fuzzy clip? Fuzzy called into his show, and he basically told baseball fans to, like, shut the fuck up.
I can't wait to hear that whole
funny.
clip. That whole...
Yeah, here it is.
First of all, do me a favor. Tell the baseball community to shut the hell up. Let me
Why
tell you
would we do that? Why would we do that? I have...
Whoa! Be quiet. You're going to call up. You're going to ask me a question. Let me answer.
So fucking ignorant.
I know baseball, the sport. What happens is, because I'm so busy with other sports watching it, I don't get to watch as much baseball. But the reason why we don't watch as much baseball, Fuzzy, if you did your homework, is because people don't care ratings-wise when we're watching baseball. We're trying to change that. First of all,
that's his thing. No, we don't talk about baseball on ESPN because no one cares about baseball.
It's so annoying because it's like, yeah, know what else people say that about? Fucking ESPN nonstop. Who the fuck watches ESPN? Like, that shit sucks now. SportsCenter sucks. Nonstop you hear that. So
that's a good point, Joe. That's a really good point.
The only thing
I wish I had the fucking what's that show? What was that show? Fucking Around the Horn.
The only thing I want to add to this, because it's obvious that he doesn't care, doesn't watch, doesn't know anything about the sport. So, like, what are we really doing? But the only thing I want to say about why they don't put it on, like, no one's ever been able to. And I just to reiterate, I worked there. I was a producer for the company. No one's ever been able to answer me the question as to the chicken or the egg. And what I mean by that is, he says that we don't put baseball on because it doesn't rate when we put it on. But if you condition your viewers to not expect baseball, and thus get baseball fans to not tune in because they know what they're going to be seeing is basketball and football, and then you're cultivating a football, basketball only audience, is it the sport's fault? Or is it the fact that you've conditioned and, like, created a certain type of viewership that is going to turn the channel when you put on baseball? And no one has ever been like, well, no, it's actually, and never a conclusive answer. So like that to me it's a self-perpetuating cycle, and they've been in that spin cycle for well predating my run there. But I just don't like, in terms of like dealing with the substance of what he's talking about, it is substance free. So I don't feel compelled to engage on the baseball.
Not even Jay could fix that problem in ESPN.
No, I
No.
mean, crazy.
And
I tried my best.
I also think that speaking of cycles, the other cycle is, baseball fans will sit here and say, ESPN never talks about baseball. Like they don't, like they just talk about football and basketball. They didn't never give baseball the time of day. And then you have guys like Stephen A. will try to talk about baseball, and the baseball fans will go, shut the fuck up, dude. You know what the fuck you're talking about? Shut the fuck up. So,
but he obviously doesn't.
It is a vicious cycle.
He obviously doesn't. Like what he said was honestly okay until he said Shohei doesn't sell tickets at all, which is so stupid.
That's wrong.
Then that's where people are like, yeah, you fucking idiot. But I mean, he says dumb shit about basketball and football too, I believe. I'm sure they're fucking football fans hate Stephen A. Smith. Basketball fans hate Stephen A. Smith too. Everybody fucking hates him. At least half the people hate him. That's like his whole thing. And I honestly like it, to be honest. I think it's hilarious.
Yeah, it's a great bit. I respect it. I respect it for what it is.
It's a cool gig to be like, I know nothing and fuck you, right? That was basically the gist of that call with Fuzzy. It was like, you shut your fucking mouth. No, I don't watch the topic that you're talking about.
And it was fucking hilarious. And honestly, shout out for Fuzzy too for coming after him too. Like Fuzzy coming after him was also hilarious. I want to see that whole clip so bad.
Yeah. Stephen A. was straight up like, you're going to call me on my show and tell me that I don't know shit about baseball? Well, guess what, pal? I don't watch your fucking sport. So you're 100% right. And tell your friends that are criticizing me for speaking on a subject that I know nothing about. Tell them to shut the fuck up. Like that. That is more or less what his engagement was with Fuzzy. More power to him. I want more Stephen A. baseball takes. This is from Tristan Casas Enjoyer. I want to know what Jay Hay thinks about the current state of pitching. I feel like it's been a little lackluster overall this year, with no 100% runaway option for Cy Young in either league. Would that be a pitch clock thing? What's his reasoning? I don't know that there is not a runaway. I think Garrett Cole and Blake Snell are pretty much slam dunks, no?
I mean, I understand what the question is getting at, which is that I don't think we're receiving like a legendarily great individual season this year. Like what Blake Snell has done is special, but like Justin Verlander just posted a sub-2 over an entire season. Like, what was it?
Last season.
Last season.
I think.
So I get it. This is more like a best, like who is the most very good this season as opposed to who has been great. But I do think in a larger sense, I'm very sympathetic to this take because of what we talked about with like a couple of months ago with the Hall of Fame pitcher conversation and our guys going like the death of the workhorse ace. Like the more time passes, the more I do miss that element of it where it's like, these signature guys who every time they come up in the rotation are, what you're getting from them and they're giving you 7 innings each time. I think there's something to that, but Garrett Cole fits that line and he's still pitching. So it's fair to enjoy him. I just think we've had lots of very, very good pitching seasons and perhaps no like historically excellent pitching season. So I get it. I don't think it's a condemnation necessarily of like a rule change or the state of pitching overall. I think it's just the way the talent distributed this season.
I'm trying to skip over some of the topics that we've hit on before. Like people are asking, like, what do you think Ohtani's contract is going to look like now post injury? I feel like we talked about that a little bit now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not. Plus, we just don't have any more new information. So I'd rather wait till the off season once we start getting some rumors and whatnot.
This feels like kind of another Jay Hay question because I feel like everyone else knows the answer for the other three co-hosts. This is from Tom. Hey guys, do you guys have a second favorite team to cheer for? Like, for example, Jared's favorite team is the Red Sox, but his NL team is the Brewers. I think Dallas, everyone knows, is a Pittsburgh Pirates fan first, and his American League team is the A's. Joe is a Braves, Mets, Phillies,
Angels,
Angels,
and Orioles too,
and Orioles, and a little Pirates. No,
oh, not really. I'm not really in on the Pirates.
No,
they
not
needed
really,
to show me a little more.
No. Yeah.
I have an answer for that.
What is it?
I would say it's mostly Cubs, Phillies, because I lived portions of my life in and around those two locations. So I like to see when those teams are doing well. I have friends that live in both areas, so I'm invested in their happiness as well. And then on a much more casual sense, I like it when the New York teams are good because one of my favorite things to do as a baseball fan is to tune in for afternoon, usually Mets games, but afternoon games for the local markets that I get. And that just hasn't been a fun experience this year like it has been in years past. So, as a quote unquote fan of all 30, I would say those are my 4 answers.
This is an interesting question from Logan. I think I know Dallas's answer, but Dallas, if you have a different answer, feel free to step in. For everyone, what is your Rick Ankiel game or game equivalent of best day that you ever had at your job? What would you say was your best? What would you say was your best game you ever had, Dallas?
Best game I ever had. I'll tell you this. My favorite game, if it was the game that I pitched in A-ball at home. I'm in single A, getting ready, hopefully, to move up the ranks. I throw a complete game shutout against the San Jose Giants at the time, and Nate Shearholtz was the beer batter of the game. And because it's Stockton and because I was on the mound, instead of shutting down beer sales in the 7th inning, beer went on sale in the 7th inning, and I punched out near Nate Shearholtz to end the game, the beer batter of the game, and the crowd went absolutely fucking wild. They were chanting my name. It was pretty fucking sick. So that was my favorite.
Jay, hey, Joseph, does anything come to mind?
In my job, my current job?
Yeah.
When you got to sit down at the Oakland Coliseum?
Oh, that might be it, actually. That kind of, I hit that one out of the fucking park. Made Dallas look like a superhero, dude. That takes skill.
Fucking did.
Or maybe WBC video. That was sick. All-nighter after the WBC final. Put it out. Boom, right there. Day after it happened. Come on, that was... I mean, editor wasn't even working that day because he was like busy or some shit. So I did it all by myself.
Some shit.
So that was pretty fucking legendary. If you guys remember that one. I mean, the turnaround time was just like, wow, high quality stuff.
I remember.
I'm kind of slacking because I know that you have a new video out right now. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, nobody saw it.
I usually watch them same day.
Nobody saw it.
I had a busy day yesterday. I was very busy yesterday. Jay, hey, do you have something like that?
I think I peaked professionally in probably 2011. Game 6, Rangers Cardinals World Series. I don't know if any of the listeners remember Game 6 of 2011 offhand, but it's one of the best and craziest games in postseason history. That was the David Freese, "We'll see you tomorrow night," Joe Buck call, where the Rangers were 1 strike away from winning the game 2 separate times. And didn't win, and obviously went on to lose the World Series as well. But I was the researcher for Baseball Tonight, and we were doing live shows from outside the stadium, and that was my first World Series. And the amount of shit I had to build and change at the last minute because of how crazy that game got at the end is an experience I'll never forget. And I don't think I've ever performed more efficiently or better since then, which is kind of sad. But
what, the Baines meter, dude?
Yeah. Well,
you created the Baines Institute.
I have big dreams for the Institute, but I think it's premature to call that, the best or the best I've ever operated in my job, for sure.
There's too many moments to pick from, in my opinion, for Jay Hay. Jay Hay has like eras. Like he has peaks of each one of his eras. There's Baseball Tonight Jay Hay. There's Starting 9 Jay Hay. There's Baseball is Dead Jay Hay. There's MLB Social Jay Hay. There's just so many.
That might have been peak free, that one, but
yeah, that one.
The straight line, flat line.
Would you guys rather see MLB do away with divisions altogether and just have the top 6 teams in each league make the postseason?
No, because that becomes it's too much like a roto league for fantasy baseball where it's everybody against everybody. We start the season as soon as the last player is drafted, and then we just go to the end.
I think I originally would have been a no on this question, but I think the more we move towards the even schedule setup and the way the playoffs are structured with the number of teams that get in, I think it's almost like, what is the point of divisions now?
Yeah.
I'm fine for nostalgic purposes. But I think we're headed down this path either like with actual dissolution of divisions or just like practically they don't mean a whole lot moving forward.
Well, they've been trying to create 2 for a long time. Time.
But doesn't that kind of get rid of some of the rivalries and then also some of the down the stretch race to win the division and certain like?
Well, yeah, because now everybody that could potentially be a rival is everyone on your side.
Yeah, but you're not going to be.
So the luster of like the Giants Dodgers, because they play each other so many times and like that may change. I don't know.
Yeah, they wouldn't play each other as much. And then there also wouldn't be really divisional races. Like now you can see right now, it's like, who's going to win the AL West? That's a race. Who's going to win the AL East? That's a race. But then there's also who's going to win the wild cards.
Well, so there's 10 teams.
It would just end up being like these 6 teams are racing for these 3 playoff spots or something like that. Like you'd still have races. They would just be structured a little bit differently. And I'm with you. Like maybe that's less exciting because it's less clear. Well, it's like everything's.
Well, now you just take the 2. Now you just take the 2 central divisions and plug those 10 teams at the bottom of that list, and then you move on from there. Is what it feels like. Because who are any of those teams competing with as far as division races go?
Well, that's really who it would be crushing, right? It would be crushing right now the teams in the central,
the AL Central, the NL Central.
Yeah, who can kind of skate by and hope that they can get into a playoff spot with 85 wins or 90 wins in a given season. That
ain't happening.
That percentage would drop precipitously, I would guess, if they were just shuffled into a 15-team division in each league.
Well, yeah.
Probably won't happen.
I don't think I personally don't think that I would mind if they got rid of.
Yeah, I don't think I care.
Yeah, I don't think that I would care if they got rid of divisions. I mean, I get the whole like rivalry aspect and everything, but now with like the balanced schedule, like that shit doesn't matter either. And I think if it's if you're a fan of a team that often struggles to get in, like you don't want any reason to be like, well, what the fuck,
I just want to say something. I just saw this tweet from Doug Minkiewicz.
Okay.
Well, the quote is from Don Mattingly. This is a game of competition and adjustments. It's not showcases or spring training games. What worries me is that we're evaluating on some of the wrong things. You can't evaluate a player simply by exit velocity or launch angle and things like that. Hitting is about situations and adjustments to how you're being pitched.
No one is doing that. No one is evaluating hitters based simply off of launch angle or exit velocity. It's just not happening. These people keep having arguments or discussions. And in this case, you're right. It is Minkevich reacting to Don Mattingly's quote. So maybe my point is with Don Mattingly. Nobody's doing this.
Well, I would argue against that.
There's nobody evaluating players solely based off of launch angle. That is fucking crazy.
Not solely. But I think you would be taken aback, Justin Havens, to learn just how much stock is being placed in simple metrics like that and really not much else. I think you would be utterly shocked. And I'm just going to ask you this question, and I'm not asking this like to be a dick or anything like that, because I have done this frequently, and I've done it this year multiple times. But when's the last time that you had a sit-down conversation with or watched a game with a minor league scout and have picked their brain about what they're looking for?
Probably
like, have you
7 years.
So, and Jay, the game has changed drastically in 3 or 4 years. Drastically. 7 years. Drastically. So to your point, yes, it is absolutely baffling to think that people believe that someone's going to go, who's your best hitter? Yeah, all I want to see is the launch angle. I don't care how hard. Just give me the launch angle. That's all I want to know. No, that's not happening. But people are taking raw metrics like that and not doing any much more digging and saying, well, I saw him take a couple swings. It was, 102 off the bat, 98, 99 average. And, he was anywhere between, 22 was the cap on his angle. He did have some negative, which he was topping balls and blah, blah, blah. So
this to me seems like an individual scouting issue with that Mattingly or Minkevich has run into, because to me, that is lazy scouting. That's not a condemnation of baseball overall. And I would argue that if that's the way that current scouts are lazy, there was an equivalent way that previous scouts were lazy. Like when they said, this guy has a nice tight ass or something like that. He's got a baseball butt. It's like, well, actually that doesn't fucking mean anything. And why are we making decisions based off of this?
Because they didn't have, just as an aside, because they didn't have any of the tools or metrics today to associate. So what they did is they take your body type and then they look at people who have looked like you in the past and how they have performed. And that's how they're going to compare you, because they have never had what we have today, numbers, right? So if you take a guy like Dustin Pedroia and you watch him swing the bat and you get the results that you're getting as far as the exit velocity and his barrel rate, all right, that might shock you, because the last time you saw a dude who looked like him swing a bat, you might not have gotten the same results. So you might be looking at him going, I don't think we can expect much. Well, that guy's going to go to the Hall of Fame now. So that's why it's different. And there are certain things that catch your eye, like runners, runners who are bow-legged. Tim Kirchin and I used to talk about this all the time. You can watch a guy walking up. I'll tell you if he's fast or not. I can tell you if he's fast or not. Just his gait. That's why people watch racehorses, to watch how they move, how they walk. There's no metric feedback that they're getting. There's no actual data that tells them that the horse is walking this way, so he might fall into this stride length group, which could give you this sort of speed on average. They don't have that. They're just telling you, hey, I'm watching the way he walks, looks a little different, and I also saw him take a shit in the paddock, which means he's going to be ready to fly. So it's like, well, there's no data supporting that other than what the eyeballs saw. That's where old scouts are coming from. This is what the eyeballs told us. Now there's numbers to match that up. And I've always said this about the metric stuff. That's a great way to evaluate your talent in the offseason and get a good idea of what the database is or the baseline. But to Don Mattingly's point, say you hit the ball 110 miles an hour. That's fantastic. Are you paying attention to how you're being pitched right now? Do you realize there's a hole open on the right side of the infield? And do you understand that you can cut the swing down and be successful in this spot right here, right now? Have we worked on you doing that? And if the answer to that is no, and the response is, bro, I hit it 110. Why do you want me working on cutting my swing down? That's where Don Mattingly is coming in and saying, It's about adjustments as well. It's not just solely based on these things. So I think we're both in agreement, because I could never imagine living in a world where I only want to see exit velo and launch angle and telling you that this is or isn't the guy for us. It just doesn't work that way.
Well, what if we got some of the sabermetrics guys to like quantify the size of players' asses and see if there's any real correlation to performance?
Well, hey, take a guy like Lance Lynn, mass equals gas, and then you take a guy
like Pablo Sandoval.
Well, no, I was going to say Brian Bello. Like, how big is that? Whose ass is bigger, Brian Bello's ass or Lance Lynn's ass?
Brian Bello.
I mean, that might be the future of analytics. Instead of analyzing shit like exit velocity, we analyze old shit that everyone says is dumb, and we figure out actually ass size, if we measure it correctly, has a big indication on a lot of cool shit.
If these front offices could get a hold of these asses, they would measure it. Okay.
Look at Pedro. Pedro, who's got a bigger ass, Pedro or Aroldis Chapman? Pedro's blowing chundos, but Chapman's blowing chundos.
But is it tight?
That's another important thing.
Yeah, density matters.
Mm-hmm. So these are things to look into, man. I don't know that there's layers to this analytics. There's a lot of unfound territory, you know.
Oh, and you know what? Let me. And I wanted to fuck your question here, Jared. Let me ask you guys this too. In a day and age where pitch counts are what they are and have been what they've been, we're also in a day and age where what have we started to do here the last few years when we have had any sort of notion that there may be some nefarious activity with the man on the mound? How have we tried to catch this individual, Jared? What tools have we used? What approach have we used to measure whether or not this guy's stuff is a little fishy? What have we done?
The umpires have been licking their hands.
No, I'm saying in an effort to catch this.
Spin rate.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Jay. Now, let me ask you this. Why, when it comes to evaluating talent, evaluating viability of talent, telling you how good this guy is or could be, we use those numbers. However, when I'm telling you that the guy is done on the mound, it's a simple numeric figure, 100. 100 pitches. 100 pitches, we're starting to get into territory where this dude's arm might fall off. He might die. He can never pitch again. We got to get him out of here. Why aren't we looking at the actual stuff, the performance of the stuff? So if at pitch 123, the stuff still plays the same way it was at pitch 62, what are we doing? Why?
I think that is happening, and I think it may not be every team is doing it, and it may not be in game as much as we would like. But I do think that I think the idea of a specific pitch count being a proxy for this guy's done or this guy can keep going is like there's always a lag between what the public thinks and what the teams are doing, right? And it was sort
data,
of
science.
Yeah, it was sort of the same thing. Like, you know, it took teams were using OPS before the public did, and then by the time the public latched onto OPS is like, hey, this is a good way to measure players. It was like teams and analytic types have been like, we moved on 5 years ago. So or 10 years ago. So I think like there's some of that going on with the pitch number stuff too, where, you know, you are looking at velocity, you are looking at spin, you are looking at like pitch break and stuff like that for effectiveness. I just don't know. I don't know what percentage of teams are using that on an in-game basis as opposed to in between starts or something like that.
Because the conversation that happens in the dugout, like go back to the George Kirby situation, you know, how do you feel? Let's say the conversation actually happens. Hey, George, how do you feel? I don't know, feeling a little tired. Well, I can just tell you, looking at the numbers here, it looks like you've lost a little horizontal or it looks like you've lost a little vert on the fastball. Looks like it's not quite holding its plane here in the later innings. Looks like we don't quite have the depth on the breaking ball that we did. So I agree, man. It looks like it's probably the end of your night. Or, hey, George, I know you might not feel great, but I got to tell you, man, fastball is playing just as good as it was in the earlier innings. Breaking ball is still tight and sharp. It might not feel great, but you still keep putting it where you want, man. And we're going to get you through this. And that's all based on what the actual raw numbers and the data are telling you in time, as opposed to going, well, you're at 92 pitches. How do you feel?
Yeah. But then it's also the question of if maybe some guy can't throw 100 pitches and keep his velocity, but does that mean that his risk of injury is still lower because he's able to keep his velocity later?
What? Say that again?
Like let's say you throw 100 pitches and you're still throwing the same speed, 98, 98 for 7 innings, 100 pitches. Just because you're throwing that same speed the whole time, does that mean you're at a lower risk of injury?
As opposed to throwing harder?
Opposed to let's say you throw 100 pitches and your velocity's gone from 98 to 95. Obviously, you're tired. Probably should get taken out of the game because you're going to get hit. But if you're still throwing 98, it could still be bad for your arm just because you're not tired.
Not necessarily, because what you're thinking about is my ability to repeat this. So if I am physically ailing or I'm tired or fatigued, my ability to repeat mechanics starts to wane. That starts to deteriorate. That's why we always, early on, you start to look at a guy's crispness on his breaking ball, just because it takes a little more to get that breaking ball going, right? Your arm can't lag on that pitch. So when that pitch starts to roll in the zone, that pitch starts to float in the zone, it's lost its fuzz, it's lost its bite, the nastiness, however you want to describe it. When that starts to go, you can tell this guy's fatigued. He's just not able to quite finish these things. But there's numbers that line up with that as well. And so I'm just kind of, I've been thinking about this a long time, just wondering why we haven't seen a team or even heard a team come out and say, look, we're not really in on the whole pitch count thing. We have a different way to assess the effectiveness of our guys.
Riley asks, your favorite random player that was never really a star?
Maybe Marvin Bernard. I love the way he looked, like TV tape. I don't know.
How about Nigel Morgan?
Yeah.
Tony Plush.
T-Plush.
Well, he was a star. That was a star. He was a star. I'm talking about Nigel Morgan.
He was
T-Plush, that's a different
T-Plush
story.
was a star.
I mean, everyone loves T-Plush, but that was the guy who got all the credit. Nigel Morgan.
Was Baerga a star?
Yeah. Why? Because of where he wore his hat?
I just remember, I mean, he made some all-star teams, so maybe that doesn't hit the threshold, but he was one of my favorite players growing up, and then he did like ESPN news hits at the very beginning when I got to ESPN, and I have never met a person who was wearing more cologne than Carlos Baerga when I passed him in the hallway. I think I'm going to stick, even if it doesn't qualify, I'm going to stick with that as my answer. Carlos Baerga.
It's Pokey Reese for me. Pokey Reese was
Pokey made an all-star team.
Yeah, he was one and done in Boston. I had so many Pokey Reese jerseys. I was such a big Pokey Reese guy. Oh man, he was the best. We can do a couple more and then get the fuck out of here and enjoy our weekend. A lot of people asking like when we're ever gonna hit Baseball's Dead parlay. I can't answer that question. That's not for me.
Yeah, neither can I. You guys get your shit together. We'll be fine. We'll be on track.
You guys get your shit together, and we will be fine.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen. I mean, I keep picking favorites every fucking week, big favorites, and they lose. So,
yeah. What free agent is getting the biggest overpay this winter? Ooh, that's an interesting one.
Cody Bellinger or Blake Snell? What do you think?
I think it's going to be Aaron Nola.
Okay.
I think the Reds bring Ailey De La Cruz to the table, and
oh god, here we go.
They're gonna see that fucking sprint speed. He's got a crazy spin rate on those balls to home, bro. And they're gonna say we need this at $390 million, 4 years.
Guy, unbelievable.
I mean, what's the pool of players?
I mean, do you think it's going to be? I mean, it's going to be a pitcher. And the position player market sucks. It's not good. Could it be Giolito?
Yeah, although the end of his season has been so terrible that I just wonder whether he's just taking care of that overpay situation by himself by shaving $40 million off of whatever he gets.
He had a good outing last time. Right?
What about, I got an answer. Josh Hader.
Yeah. Ooh.
I didn't even know he was coming up.
Yeah. And he's been at lights out. Another guy that on the Padres who's been a beast, and it doesn't matter. They still suck.
I think Snell and Hader would be my two answers for that question. Not to play a hate on the Padres, but I think those are my answers.
Why does Jay Hay hate Matt Olson?
That's a good question.
Fair.
Oh, man. It's crazy when you say a guy is like the fourth best player in the National League and people are like, why do you hate on this dude so badly? I don't know. I think this all goes back to me taking a brave stand on the Platinum Glove stuff, and I think I need to be recognized more for that than hating on Matt Olson. I just think Freddie Freeman's had a better season, but it's a matter of degree and maybe even preference. So if you want to say Matt Olson should finish third in the NL MVP and Freddie Freeman should finish fourth, I'm not going to fight you over it.
Did Freddie win the Clemente Award?
Don't know yet.
Yeah, do we know those things?
No.
Okay.
I thought Matt Olson did. He got recognized.
Oh, I thought you meant this year.
This year, dude.
Same season as his Platinum Glove. Yeah.
He got recognized for doing charity. All I'm saying, he got recognized for doing charity. I thought it was the Clemente Award.
Yeah.
Maybe it was last year's. Either way, he's a better guy than Freddie is, deep down in his heart.
Yeah.
So you should like him more. If you're not, it says a lot more about you than it does about him.
It's crazy how Braves fans are willing to slander Freddie Freeman after all he did.
I'm telling you right now, he's the second nicest, friendliest, good person, first baseman in the league. But number one is Matt Olson. Number two is not bad. But he's not as good of a guy deep down in his core of his heart. Matt Olson is way better of a person. But Freddie's second best first baseman as a person.
The last question comes from Mike 773999253.
Oh, you know him, you love him.
And he asks, can you guys just talk about how Ellie De La Cruz has fallen off a cliff?
No. You can't do that anymore.
Hey, fuck all y'all. I'm out.
That's the last.
Pathetic.
Dallas is done. Okay. All right. Dallas can leave. That's fine. We're in the heat of summer and you need a pair of great shades that you don't have to baby knock around. Sunglasses is the go-to for quality polarized shades that won't break the bank. Plus, they just released the first set of teams of their official MLB collection, including Red Sox and Yankees. Don't be the person that's squinting into the sun or worried about getting sand on their overpriced sunglasses. Check out knockaround.com for great-looking polarized shades starting at just $28. What a deal. Use the promo code ROCKET, and that'll get you free shipping on your order. Jay Hay, do you have any final thoughts?
I do.
This morning?
I got a nug dump for us.
Yeah, give me a nug dump.
Rapid fire. It's, as been noted, Corbin Carroll, 25 homers, 50 stolen bases, the 13th season in MLB history to feature 25 and 50. The only other player to do so in his age 22 or younger season was Cesar Cedeno. So pretty rare stuff from Corbin Carroll this year. Kodai Senga had another strong start last night, and I just never have I heard his name come up in the Cy Young race, and I realize that he's probably not going to win it, but as good of a debut season as you could possibly have hoped for. Fourth in Major League Baseball in ERA, second in baseball in ERA since July. He's got a 2.37 since the beginning of July. Sixth in Major League Baseball in strikeout rate overall this year. Fifth in opponents' batting average. So I think you can make a credible case that while Verlander and Scherzer were massive disappointments for them, the Mets may very well have a top 10 starting pitcher on their staff moving forward to build around. Luis Arias, first player with 150 singles in a single season since Ender Inciarte and D. Strange Gordon did it in 2017. Let's see, Juan Soto currently in line to have another 400 on base, 500 slugging season. He would be only the fourth player in Major League Baseball history to have 4 such seasons through his age 24 season. He would join Ted Williams, Jimmy Fox, and Willie Wells. So stuff that hasn't been done in 70 years or more. Cole Reagans, I haven't been shy to dump on the Royals and how pathetic their entire organization is and how they have no hope for the future either. But Cole Reagans, 2.28 ERA in 10 starts since coming over in a trade from the Rangers. 101 pitchers have at least 50 innings since he was traded to Kansas City, and only 2 of those pitchers have a better ERA than Reagan's 2.28, and that's Blake Snell at 1.66 and Brandon Woodruff at 2.13. So, I mean, it's very rare to see a guy post a 5+ ERA for a team, change teams, and become like a shutdown ace. But the Royals clearly have something here. Kyle Schwarber and Eugenio Suarez both have 200+ strikeouts on the season, and Teoscar Hernandez is 5 strikeouts away. He's got 195. If Teoscar can get to 200, 2023 would become only the second season in Major League Baseball history with 3 players to achieve 200 strikeouts. The only other season where that's happened was 2018 with Joey Gallo, Giancarlo Stanton, and Yohan Moncada. Last one, Ty France, as I like to say, Ty France, 33 hit by pitches. He's 1 away from tying Craig Biggio for the most hit by pitches in a single season in the wild card era. Biggio had 34 back in 1997. And France is the first player in baseball history to have a single season featuring 25 or more hit by pitches and 25 or more grounded into double plays. So congrats to him on what's truly a unique season. And I'm interested to see whether that combination vaults him into the AL MVP discussion, because nobody's done it before.
People were asking for a nug dump. You wanted it.
You got it.
You got it. Dallas, any final thoughts here today?
No, just told you so.
Same.
Told
On
you so.
which, what did you tell us about now?
That the AL West division race was going to be one of the most exciting races all year long. And here we are. Nobody wanted to believe it. Nobody wanted to hear it.
I think people believed it.
And here we
are. Joey, I picked you last because I know how you don't want to be caught off guard with final thoughts.
What's that? What is that about? What is it? Why is Jay laughing?
The only time Joey's thrown off on this podcast is when he's asked questions that we do every pod.
Yeah, like when I hit him with if I put him first in line for final thoughts, he'll just be like, honestly, just God bless and enjoy life.
What stood out to you over the weekend? Well, you're catching me off guard.
Guy like me, I don't like goodbyes. I don't like the word. I have a lot of thoughts also, but the final, if you're telling me the final thoughts, this is it. You come up with, this is speaking out. It's like a lot of pressure. So sometimes, yes, I like to, compose myself, think about it a little bit.
Right.
And these things are constantly changing. I have so many thoughts, but I will say my final thought for today is that the Seattle Mariners will beat the Texas Rangers 2 games
this weekend
out of 3, and go ahead. But yeah, that's the series of the year, and my money's on the Mariners. And everyone knows I'm always right when it comes to betting. So
that's true.
And that's not betting advice.
Actually, you know what? Joey picking against the Texas Rangers
Cowboy
has me feeling a certain type of way.
Cowboy.
It's got me feeling pretty good about this weekend.
They have no pitching, dude.
We just moved Martin Perez back to the rotation, idiot.
He's so bad now. He's so washed. He was good with
All-Star last year. All-Star
on the
last
Red
year.
Sox, not the
All-Star
Rangers.
last year.
On the Red Sox.
All-Star
So
last year
up
for the Texas
You're bringing up
Rangers.
old shit.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.
Hey, it wasn't on the Rangers.
Enjoy your
last year.
weekend of baseball. We'll be back on Monday.
We gone.
Then rock that bitch up